Okay, so this video is going to be one of 3 parts on demos that I will be showing you. I think in total I have 16 of the 33 that I expect to be done for test 1. So it's randomly picked. Some things I wanted to choose to show you a certain skill, some's not. So we're going to go through a whole bunch of these. The first 6 will be relatively easy because it's going to be most of the 2D demos, and then we'll get into some harder stuff. But the way this is going to work, I figure the CAD screen's more important on the right, so you could see what I type in, and we'll just go through all of these. What I expect you to turn into me is a one DWG file of everything. So an easy way to organize this would be to just like create a construction line or something that you could end up putting each drawing you do successively on, so it's easy for me to see all 33. I mean, if you wanted to, you could stack them at some point or go from left to right, but these are going to vary in a whole bunch of different sizes. Something's going to be 100 units of whatever, some's going to be 1, like the one that's on the screen. But the first thing we're going to want to do with these, or to understand about these, is I don't care about the dimensions. Like, I mean, you have to draw it to the correct dimension, but I do not need you to put on the dimensions when you submit this to me. So for this, we could start our line command. I'm going to start, let's start here. Or let's just start here. I generally go around the horn a lot. So we'll start on this bottom left. So actually that line's going to bother me. So, but as long as we get them relatively in line. So we will type in L enter for line. We will start a point, which is what I'm doing right here. I guess I could show you my settings at the start as well if you wanted to make sure you match me. I have grid on, doesn't really matter. I have my polar tracking on with 45 snap, 45 degrees. I got my object snap tracking on, my object snap with endpoint, midpoint, center, quadrant, intersection, extension all on. And those are annotative features which don't really matter for the purpose of the demos. So, one other note, if it says inches or millimeters or whatever, just disregard. If it says whatever the dimension is, just draw that. So we will go line, enter, pick a point. We will go 6 to the right. We will go 1 up. That's from here. We will go 1.5 in, just from here. We will go 1.5 up. So 1.5 up. Now, you could just do 1.5 over again if you want, or as you get quicker at this, if you hover over this point and come up, it's going to do the same thing, because we are just staying in line with that corner. Then we will go up 1, because 3.5 minus 1.5 minus 1 is 1. So 1. We will go over. It's going to be 2.5 because we got 6 down here. We got 1.5, 2. So that means we're going to go in 2.5. And I think I have a dinosaur upstairs currently. All right. So at this point, I don't feel like calculating this angle, so I'm going to do this portion and come down and connect over. So I escaped out of my command. I'm going to type in L enter for line. I'm going to select this point because I want to start back here. I'm going to go up 3.5 because that's just this distance. We're then going to come in 1.5. And we are going to come down 1.75 because 3.5 minus 1.75 is 1.75. and then we will connect that up, and we didn't have to calculate that angle. So that's 1 of 33 done. And with me explaining it and all this stuff in the beginning, that was 5 minutes. Drawing it probably took about, if I was doing it without explaining, it would have taken 30 seconds. But you guys will be able to get that quick soon enough. All right, so next one. Oh, by the way, that was demo 1 in the folder. This next one we are doing will be demo 3. There's a lot more dimensions on this one. And the way I typically do these demos is I never practice them. I just don't. So you're going to see me struggle through this at times, trying to figure out what the dimensions are. I may be an idiot at some points, but I prefer to show you any of the type of things that are going through my head as I'm doing it. And sometimes it may make me look like an idiot, but that's all good. All right, so this one, I'm going to start from this point. And because this comes out to the left some, I'm going to make sure I go slightly more left. Like, you don't need to create this line like I did. If you really wanted to, you could just start a line, hover over this, and come over, just so it remains in line. That's over 3.5 inches, and I know I need to go out 1, so I should be in good shape there starting. So we are starting here again, and we're going to go that way. So we will go over 1.5. We will go up 0.5. That's 0.85, 0.5. And if you're just starting with the demos, the way I am panning over is I'm holding in my scroll wheel. You could also use this hand if you want, or type in pan and do it. But if you hold in your scroll wheel, you could do this. The way I'm zooming is the scroll wheel actually scrolling it. Holding it in pan, scrolling that. Okay, so this is going to go over 1.5. Let's do a posture check so I don't screw up my back. Okay, we could do that trick again where we hover and come down, or you could just come down 0.5. We're going to go over 2. All right, so this. We need to figure out this height. Now this goes up 1.5. Actually, let's start going around the horn this way, because I could easily see that path. So the first thing we're going to need to do, we're going to need to go up 1.5 and then over 1. So I'm just going to draw these two lines that I'm going to delete in a sec. So if I go up 1.5 and over 1, I could connect this back down to this point, and then I could get rid of these lines. So I use them as kind of guidelines. Then we need to go up 1, and we need to go over 1.5. So let's go up 1, over 1.5. So now we got that. We know this total height is 4, and that goes up 2.5, so we got to go up 1.5. We know we got to go over 2.5. We're going to go down 1. We're going to go over 1. So we got that entire outer structure. And now we got to do this rectangle. And I guarantee you in one of these videos, or just one of these demos, I'm going to forget something stupid like doing this inner part. If it's shown on the demo, it needs to be done. I'm not going to reshoot a 30-minute to an hour video just to re-get that in there. But so for this edge point starts 2 in. So I am just going to draw a line from here in 2, just so I got that outer edge. And this bottom portion is 1 up from the base. So I'm just going to end up offsetting this line up 0.5, since that's 0.5 and I already have it, and we need another 0.5. So to do that, we're just going to do offset, enter, 0.5, enter. So now we have this line. So we have the base. We kind of have the extents that we need to form this rectangle, at least on the left side. So all I'm going to do is, boom, let's just connect that down some. So then we can connect to this. I just created a line down from that point. So that's good now. We could trim out that bottom portion. This comes over 2.5. So we could offset 2.5, enter, offset enter, 2.5, enter. That's the other extent. Boom. And then, so we need to come up 1 from here. We're going up 1. So we got that. And we could just extend this line up if we want. Extend this line up if we want. Boom. And the way I'm extending those lines is I'm just left clicking, then grabbing the node and clicking to where I want to go. So demo number 3 done. Boom. Let's keep it rolling. This one's going to be pretty simple. So we'll start at this bottom left again. Come over some. Okay. Let us go up 2.5. Let us go over 4, because it's right here. Entire distance is 4. Up is 2.5. Do our little hover thing. Come over. Boom. This whole thing's 4 minus 2.5, so we know we come in 1.5. We're going to come up 1. We are going to come over 1, because 2.5 minus 1.5 is this distance, which is 1. And then we could just hover, come over, boom, boom, bing, bing, bong. Now all we got is 2 holes left. So these holes start 0.75 down, so we will use our offset. Offset, enter. We are going to go 0.75, enter. Click this line, click on the bottom end of it. So that's our center point. We also know it's 0.75 in. And we also know it's 0.75 in over here, because this whole thing's 4 minus 0.75 minus 2.5. So offset 0.75. So we got these points to make our circles on. We'll do C, enter for circle. We'll click this point. Circle defaults to radius. This symbol right here means diameter. So we could either click diameter, type D, enter, or we could just do that maths in our head and type in 0.25. So I'll do it 2 ways. You could do 0.25. You could start your circle command again. You could type in D, enter, and type in 0.5 to the exact same circle. Or if you wanted to just create one of them, type CO for copy. Click on the circle and move it from the center point to the center point. Be all good. Little Space Invader dude. Oh. Moving up a little bit in the world. This one is Demo 8. So, this one, I'm going to start from the top since I know it's going to come down some. So, we will start a circle with a diameter of 2, which means a radius of 1. So we have our circle. We know this other circle is over 4.5 and down 3. If you do not get this little crosshatch here, it is because you do not have center checked. And if you cannot snap to like 6 o'clock or whatever, it's because you do not have quadrant snapped. So when you start your line, if you come near to something, it's going to be like, hey, do you want me to click there? That's what's happening with those. So we will start there. We will go over. We will go over, not up and over. 4.5. We will go down 3. We don't need to connect that. We will do a circle with a radius of 1 again. Boom. We got that. We could do this square. We could do this in 2 ways. You could either just draw the lines of the square and be done with it, or we could use the polygon command. There are 4 sides. Specify the center of the polygon here. Now, whether or not we want to be inscribed or circumscribed. So if you're circumscribed about the circle, what's going to happen with the square is, so if you're circumscribed about the circle, it's going to go on the outside edges, which means it's going to ask you to specify the radius or the diameter of the thing it's being inscribed about or circumscribed about. So since we know this square is 0.75, which is the length of each side, we know this diameter that it has to be circumscribed about, the outside of it, has to be 0.75. So that's the one that I want to use for this. And we could double check this after the fact, after we make the square. So you'll rotate it such that it looks like a square. And if you look, it says specify the radius of the circle. So that's 0.375. If I wanted to, I could explode this, or here, I could just dim linear for dimension. And you could see this dimension is 0.75. Had I done a polygon that was inscribed, polygon for here. Let's do it inscribed this time with a 0.375. This is 0.53. And what essentially is happening is if we make a circle about this, that's 0.375, it's inside the circle. So you can't necessarily specify what that dimension is. This is useful in some respects, but for this drawing here, we want to use circumscribed. Whereas, I like how I showed you some freaking cap instead of just drawing it on the screen to illustrate it. It's stupid. Whereas this one, if we do 0.375, you see how the lines are all on the outside? And we're asked to specify this distance, which is why it's nice to use. Deleted the wrong one. Control Z if you ever want to undo whatever you did. This is a 1-inch square. So we need to do a different polygon. 4 sides. Boom. Circumscribed. Excuse you, dinosaur. 0.5. So now we got a 1 square, 0.75 square. And all that's left are these arcs. So we could do an arc. And it looks... trying to decide if this is tangent or if it's like start, end, radius. Let's see how different they look, just to see. Hey, which one did I choose? Start, end, radius. And then that's saying a radius of 5. Whereas what happens if we do tan radius? or a circle with tan radius. And just look at how they look different. No, I don't like that. So for this one, I believe we're just going to do that start-end radius on the arc. Boom, boom. Hold Control to switch direction. Screw you. Arc. Start-end radius. Come down. 5. Do it again. Here, here. 4. No, that's bad. I think maybe we want to do what I was doing before. Circle, tangent. Why am I being dumb? Oh, this doesn't work either because it goes through. I knew I was right. I was just doing it stupid. It's tan radius. Stupid. Right. Trim, enter, enter. No. Alright. I went through that quick, so let's do it again. We are going to use a circle with tan radius. This allows us to make a circle that is tangent to 2 points and specify a radius. So we will click there, and it says second tangent. We'll click somewhere over here. We will specify a radius of 5. Boom. We push enter. We start over the same command again. We want it somewhere around here. We'll start somewhere around here. We'll start somewhere around there. We will do a radius of 4. You'll then type in trim, push enter twice. We'll get rid of that portion. We'll get rid of that portion. We'll get rid of that portion, and then we could delete these sections. Now we're done with that. That was very not promising. Sometimes you just get stupid. What it is. There was one time in a calc class where we had a teacher and he spent the entire hour-and-a-half class period trying to solve one of the questions we ended up asking him. And then he had to send us the solution after class, and he was like, I was being dumb. That was that right there. Okay. Demo 11. 4. Done. Let's start it from the top again. So we will need a circle. And this has a radius of 20. And that is much larger than the other object, so we will be moving this over. M-enter to move. And then just move it over. M-enter, click the object, and then pick a base point and move it. So M-enter, click the object, enter. You could grab it from wherever you want. I'll just grab it from this midpoint and shift it over. And that radius of 20 came from this diameter of 40. We will then start our other circle, which is going to be 130 over and 35 down. So 130 over, enter to start the last line command, 35 down. We can connect this up if we want to, because we'll need it at some point. We will do another circle with a radius of 25. And then we will do these. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There would be 5 and 6 sides. We could do that polygon feature again. So polygon, enter, 6, enter. Click a point. Similar to last time, we're going to want to do circumscribed since we have that length. So this is going to end up being circumscribed 12.5, and make sure it looks like that. And we'll do the same thing over here, except this one's going to be 15. Now we need to get rid of these lines. So the way we're going to do that is we are going to explode this. So if we type in explode, we could click both of these objects if we want, and it's going to break it off into its individual components. So now we could get rid of these lines if we want to, because we don't need them. And then we need to make this curve, which the easiest way to do that is going to be to fillet this to that circle. So if we do fillet, F-I-L-L-E-T, enter, we're going to do this a whole bunch of times since there's 4 different places to do a radius of 3. So fillet, enter, M, enter, R, enter for radius, and then 3, enter, and then clicky, 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 clicky. And we have that. We could easily trim out our portions there. The radius 3s came from here. Then we need to offset this line 10 in both directions. So offset 10, boom, boom, bing, bong, bing, trim, enter, enter. I do enter, enter twice, so it makes everything relative to everything, and I could just start deleting stuff. And honestly, we don't need that line. Boom, we made a wrench. We're amazing. I mean, it's drastically larger than the other ones, but that's because it's in millimeters. Okay, next one. Demo 12. We'll start this somewhere over here. No, come back. This is going to be a big boy. I just extended it. I'm an idiot. All right. Either way, we're going to need this circle thing. So I'm going to make a circle construction line. Boom. Useful. All right. So we need to make a polygon with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 12 sides. 12 sides. Center of the polygon. Why are you being so weird? Top view. We'll move it after. Polygon enter, 12 enter. We are going to do here circumscribed again, which is the most common one. And that's going to be a radius of 90 since it says 180 over there. And then we can move this over some. We'll need another polygon with 4 sides. Didn't want to save our stuff, so we got to kind of force it. So essentially what I'm doing there, I should have made the circle first. That would have been the smart way. If you do polygon enter, 4 enter, if you hover over this point, which you know is the midpoint, and then hover over this point, which you know is the midpoint, and kind of go to that apparent midpoint, it'll snap to it. Circumscribed, make a square, John. It's going to be a 20 radius since it says 40 square. Boom. Now we need to make this bigger circle. So we're going to do the same thing again. Hover, hover, parent. And it's a radius of 60, diameter 120. Now, this is saying you have 8 different of these holes, equally spaced, with a diameter of 20. So this is where it's useful to have an array tool, which we are going to be able to use. And we're going to do a polar array because we're going to follow it along this circle. So if we do, wait, we need to create a circle first. We'll create it at 12 o'clock. 10, because it's a diameter of 20. We'll type an array. Select your object. Boom, we want to array that. You have different ones. You have rectangular, so if you want to do like a gridish pattern. You have path, so if you had some like wonky line and you wanted to space stuff out equally along that line, you could. This is a circle, so we're going to do polar. Center point is here. It defaults to 6. You'll see up here changed. So we know there's 8. We could just change this items to 8. Boom. Done. This was just a guideline. We could get rid of that. And now we got that. And that's all of the ones that are going to be in this video. I'm going to do another 6 in the next video. Hopefully there is one where I look like an idiot again, because that's always the goal.